Okay, this then second part of the syllabus, that is conceptual framework. I hope that you people have a little bit knowledge about this topic, conceptual framework, based on FR studies and something in F3. The topic conceptual framework. But you people never invest the time, the actual requirement of that particular topic. So conceptual framework, it's very much important topic with SBR. What inside the conceptual framework we will discuss later on. But initially I can say that you people know that the accounting standard IAS and IFRS and the conceptual framework is under the board that's called International Accounting Standard Board. In other way around, International Accounting Standard Board having two projects. Number one project, accounting standards. Number two project, conceptual framework. If I ask you people, if a company purchased a machine and wanted to record and report in accounting, which accounting standard the company should follow? Do reply me quick. Which accounting standard the company should need to follow? IAS 16. If something about intellectual property, software or development costs, which accounting standard? IAS 38. Very good. Investment property, IAS 40. Okay, but if you ask that accrued expense, prepaid expense, which accounting standard we use to report accrual or prepayments? For accrual, for prepayments, these are the type of transaction having no accounting standard. So if these type of transactions like prepaid, accrued, or I can say some advanced Bitcoin, if there are no guidance of any accounting standard, then we will use conceptual framework. That is the first role of conceptual framework. Do remember, this is the first role of conceptual framework. But conceptual framework having more importance, we will discuss later. Conceptual framework document has revised at 2018. By 2018, and this new 2018 document is actually the part of our syllabus, where conceptual framework very emphasize the content of qualitative characteristics of financial statement. Sir, what does that mean, qualitative characteristics? Students, if we are accountant, do reply me. We make the financial statement for what purpose or for whom? We as accountant make the financial statement for what purpose? Who the user of the financial statement? Can you reply me? Investors or potential investor. Investor means shareholders. Investor means debt holders, or the potential shareholder or potential debt holders. Okay. Assume that you are the shareholder, actual shareholder of the company. You are the actual shareholder of the company, and I am an accountant. So whatever the financial statement, whatever the numbers I provide to you, whatever the numbers I provide to you, what do you expect from my side? Are these numbers with honesty and integrity? Yes or no? Are these numbers based on integrity with honesty? Yes. So that means user wants qualitative characteristics of the numbers or financial statement we make. That's the point. This is called qualitative characteristics. So conceptual framework usage with a transaction we need to report, and we don't have any guidance by any accounting standard like prepaid, accrued expense, or bitcoins. Number two, conceptual framework provides a content that what qualitative characteristics should be embedded in the financial statement. So the details we will discuss later. What the examiner expects from our side, we need to develop expertise about the knowledge and application of conceptual framework. Not only knowledge, but also application. That's the point. As this is what examiner expectation. What is the examiner expectation? To pass this exam, candidates require our in-depth knowledge of the conceptual framework. In-depth knowledge of conceptual framework. Required in-depth knowledge of conceptual framework. That's a key point. So it's a very important topic for SBR exam. Let's take an example. Please read this requirement. That's an extract. Please read this requirement. Read this requirement. Outline the criteria in IS 38, intangible asset, for the recognition of an intangible asset, and discuss whether these are consistent with the conceptual framework. So that means examiner at one point, at one part, examiner examine IS 38, another discuss whether these are consistent with conceptual framework. Means conceptual framework examine in integrated manner. In an integrated manner. That's a point. Third syllabus content, ethics. Third syllabus content, ethics with SBR exam. You have already studied multiple times the ethics with your previous studies like F4 law, like audit and assurance, ethics. So the ethics principles are remain same. ACCA Code of Ethics and Conduct, fundamental principles. Same like integrity, professional competence, all these things, objectivity. And same about the threats to fundamental principles. For example, some action which reflects self-interest affect to the fundamental principle of objectivity. And other threats as well. Same principles here. But the style of examination is different. Style of examination is different. Here examiner is expecting to develop expertise about application of ethical case with accounting issues. Application of ethical cases with accounting issues. That's the point. Sir, how ethics will examine with SBR question? Let's take one example. Assume you have appointed as junior accountant in a company, and I'm your senior manager. I'm a senior manager in a company. Assume that you as ACC, you are also qualified person. I'm also a qualified person. You have identified a manipulation with an accounting standard application. For example, IS 37 provision. You have identified some issues. That's the application of IS 37. It's not up to the mark. It's just manipulation. You identified that issue and start communication with me. I promptly reply to you, keep quiet and don't discuss this issue with anyone. And I also add one thing. If you discuss this point with anyone, I will not extend your contract, job contract. So this is what the ethical issue. That's the issue identified. That's ethics with accounting implication. So what examiner expect here? Examiner expecting here that you need to respond not only about accounting issue, but also develop the case of ethics and response the ethical issues with action points. So this is the one type of example that I've given to you. There are multiple more issues we will cover here, but always the ethical issues connect with some accounting matter. Like this question, I'm not discussing the details of the question. A part of the question, it's about IFRS 15 revenue. B part of the question, the ethic issue for the finance director, Mr. Betso, setting out how issues may be resolved. 10 marks. And for your information, overall SBR exam having 4 professional marks. 2 professional marks belongs to ethics, and 2 other we will discuss later. Professional marks will be awarded in part B for the quality of discussion regarding resolution of ethical issues. That's a point. Students, are you with me? We have covered 3 aspects of the syllabus. Number 1, accounting standards. Number 2, conceptual framework. Number 3, ethics. That's a point. Next point is about, listen very carefully, the very important part of the syllabus. Performance measurement. If you are starting the preparation of performance measurement, the very first thing you need to notice that this is not about the ratios and interpretation. This is not about ratios and interpretation. In fact, this topic is about investor perspective. Investor perspective means an accountant make financial statement for investor. So whenever you study this performance measurement topic. Whenever you answer the question of performance measurement topic, you change your position from accountant to investor. You change your position 180 degree. You have to respond like an investor. So here the topic related to what the investor perspective related to accounting standard implications and further more things. Alternative performance measurement tools, sustainable reporting, integrated reporting, management commentary. One by one. A little bit discussion, not in detail. If I ask you a question as reply me as accountant, IS 40 investment property, reporting by two possible models. Do reply me the names. Do reply me the names of the two models of IS 40 investment property. Yes, cost model and fair value model. Cost model, fair value model. Yes. So you replied me as an accountant. Do remember, accountant make the financial statement, but investor use the financial statement for decision making. If accountant report IS 40 as cost model as compared to fair value model, so what will be the impact on the decision making of investor if use cost not the fair value, or I can say if use fair value not the cost. We will discuss this point with these slides later on, but do remember what will be the impact on decision making of investor if use the model cost, if use the model fair value. This is about accounting implications with viewpoint of investor. Second important point, I'm asking a question to you. Assume that, students, assume that you are a shareholder of a company. Assuming you are a shareholder and I am an accountant. And you invested money in a company as a shareholder, and I have presented the numbers. Numbers means financial statement to you. Do reply me. The numbers or financial statement by IFRS provided by the accountant, is this enough or satisfactory information to you? Do reply. Only the financial statement are the satisfactory information to you? No, you as investor wants more reporting, wants some extra reporting other than accounting standard. And other than accounting standard, these are the tools to satisfy user of the financial statement. APM, sustainable reporting, integrated reporting, management commentary. And these four are not related to any technical accounting standards. A little bit management commentary related to ISB, Accounting Standard Board, but these three, APM, sustainable reporting and integrated reporting, that's nothing related to accounting standard. This is some extra reporting to satisfy the investors. So let's take one basic example. Accountant So accountant perspective, it's only about recording, presenting, and reporting of transaction. Recording and reporting of transaction. But if you are an investor, this gentleman, another gentleman, it's investor, sitting like this. Investor wants the financial statement for the purpose of decision making. So accountant role, making of the financial statement. Investor perspective, using the financial statement for decision making. So that is investor perspective. What examiner expect? What examiner expect? Read it carefully. Read it carefully. The SBR exam will require candidates to adopt a stakeholder or investor focus in answering some questions. Means for some question you need to change your position and response as an investor, not an accountant. Change your position, change position from accountant to investor. 180-degree change. Next point, current developments, new developments, current developments. About current development, from September 23 to June 2024, these 4 semesters, the examining team has logged these topics as current development. Number 1, something about new and existing accounting standards. Number 2, new business development and accounting implications. Number 3, sustainable reporting. One by one. Topic number 1. Topic number 1 includes 2 things. Accounting standard, new and existing. New accounting standard, what does that mean? New accounting standard means if some new changes is under discussion with accounting standard board. So what will be the implications if these new changes it's going to implement? Assume that you people know very well, previously the accounting standard of leases was IS 17. But now the IFRS 16 replaced, the IFRS 16 has replaced IFRS IS 17. So lease standard has changed. Assume that IFRS 16 is under process. So here examiner can ask that what the implication if this new accounting standards it's going to implement. Same, some new developments I will discuss later. Some new developments, either the complete accounting standard or with the same accounting standard with limited changes, it's under discussion. So if it's under discussion, it's going to implement, what's the implications? Number 2, if something going to change, it means there are some deficiencies with the existing standard. So we need to know what are the deficiencies within the existing system or existing standard. So the reason is that deficiencies have led to proposed change to the new accounting standard. Number 2, this is what about new changes. But one more thing you need to know. You have to develop ability to critic existing accounting standards. These accounting standard, critic these accounting standard. Like some matter related to IS 1, some IFRS 15, some IFRS 2, 37, 8, 37. That's all. With existing accounting standard, there you need to critique some aspects of the accounting standard. Although it's not going to change, but whatever the existing system, uh, we need to discuss what pitfalls or what the challenges, the methodology opted by these accounting standards. Whatever about new or existing accounting standard changes, here examiner categorically mention there will not be a complete single question. Examiner will never ask about new current development about existing or new accounting standard for a complete 25 marks question. It's not possible. And only examiner expect you need to get a basic knowledge of these changes. Only examiner can only examine the principles or the basics of these changes. We don't need to invest very much time about this. So this is what about the first phase of current development, new and existing accounting standard changes. Number 2, new business developments and accounting implications. For example, the new real business developments, digital assets, natural disasters, climate change, global events like pandemic, going concern issues. For example, digital asset called, let's say, bitcoins. If the transaction happens with the bitcoins, how to account for the bitcoins? If natural disaster happens, so more challenges we need to face about the IS 36 impairments. The climate change impacts on the accounting issues. Do remember, for any of these developments, examiner particularly mentioned the scope of exam is integrated, not independent. So what you are saying, not independent, integrated? Not independent means it's not possible to examine a single 100% question about this. But the question integrates with other accounting standard issues. That's the point. Candidates, can you please reply me? Are you with me? Can you please reply me? All of you are with me? That's good. Last point of the current development, sustainable reporting. Sustainable reporting. Every investor with now these days in the real business dynamics, although technological advancement has made very dramatically, but the investors are very much concerned about the sustainability of the business, which is based on sustainability of the economy, and with sustainability of the business based on sustainability of the industry, based on sustainability of the economy. So a lot of things in the real business situation has come about the sustainable reporting. So that's we need to cover about the sustainable reporting matter. So this is what about the current development. Exam scope, once again integrated. Exam scope, once again integrated. Now, next point. So according to the agenda, what we have covered till now, the first point, that is syllabus insight with examiner expectation. I strongly suggest take a short 2 to 3 minutes break, refresh your mind, then we will move forward. Take a 3 minutes break. Thank you.